Hello, Dr. Chowan. This is Robert DiDio, student in management 6345. With my special project, I chose to do a leadership student journal. Um, I enjoyed the course. I learned a tremendous amount, and each week I've reflected particularly on the modules and the lessons learned. Module 1 helped define leadership for me. The um, definition utilized during the course was a process whereby an individual influences a group of individuals to achieve a common goal. And I think one of the key learning points that I came across um, with was the fact that leadership is a process, that it is something that involves both the leader and the followers. In Module 1, we also learned about assigned versus emergent leaders, position versus personal power, and the concepts of leadership versus management. As the course went on, we went through different um, models of leadership definitions. The Module 2 involved trait or innate leadership. Um, some of the important traits that I feel are associated with leadership are self-esteem or one's self-worth or value, self-efficacy, the ability to perform specific tasks, and self-confidence, the ability to succeed. Not only I think is this important for the leader, but also for the followers as well. Stress tolerance, having a high energy level are important. I learned in this course about locus of control or an internal locus of control. Again, although important for a leader, I believe is also important for a follower as well. We learned about emotional intelligence and stability and maturity, all factors important in leadership development. Integrity. Um, I learned that socialized power motivation is more associated with a successful leader than personal power motivation. A leader should be oriented towards achievement. We also talked about the big five personality factors. I enjoyed taking the personality test. It made me wonder, though, do leaders actually perform better with innate skills or innate traits, rather, or simply do the followers just rate them higher? It's a question I'd like to explore. Module 3 moved into the skills aspect of leaderships. From the CATS model, I learned that leadership skills are divided into things or technical, people or human, or ideas or conceptual. This kind of dovetailed with the cognition element in Module 5, where the novice uh, cognition level was a sort of a skills development. The intermediate level was more of a situational model, perhaps involving people, and the expert level was more principle-based or conceptual. Um, the skills concept of CATS also made me think about modules 4 and 5, where the things were more associated with task behavior and people more associated with supportive behavior. I enjoyed the Mumford's skill model. We talked about the three major competencies required for an effective leader: problem solving, social judgment skills, and knowledge. And again, that for me made me think about the task directed behaviors uh, for being more problem solving, and the supportive behaviors being more associated with social judgment skills. I enjoyed immensely the leadership training features. The exercise with Patricia Patterson at Federated Industries made me think about all the important aspects involved in leadership training, whether it be formal training, self-help activities, or developmental activities. We moved on to critical leader behaviors in Module 4 with two major behavior groups, although Euclid brought in a third in terms of change. The two major behaviors were directive, task, or concern for production, versus supportive, relationship, or concern for people. And I found those themes to resonate Throughout the remainder of the course, I enjoy taking Stogel's LBDQ 12 um, assessment. There was a lively discussion on the discussion board regarding Blake and Mouton's leadership grid, which divided leadership behaviors and concerns for people in production. The article on Beware the Busy Manager from the Harvard Business Review was fascinating. And I'll never forget the division between focus and energy. Um, and the other articles were wonderful as well. Posen's Extreme Productivity and the Multitasking Paradox articles as well. Um, Expounding on the behavioral approach, Module 5 talked about situational leadership as well as cognition. The Hersey and Blanchard's adapting style seems to be less general than the leadership grid. It seems that as we move forward, the leadership is becoming more personalized and more focused. In the case of Module 5, the directive dimension, the supportive dimension depend upon the follower's competence and commitment. So there is that Blake and Mouton's concern for people and for production, but it depends upon the situation as well as the competence and commitment level of the follower. I certainly enjoyed the cognition aspects of Module 5. Cognition develop the developmental level, a move from individual to relational to collective. It reminded me of the LMX division, the self or stranger phase involved mainly concern for the self, kind of consistent with the individual cognition level. Level 2, the acquaintance level of LMX was self and other, which reminded me of the relational cognition level, and the collective cognition level reminded me of the group or mature LMX level. Module 6 was interesting, path goal with achievement-oriented leadership. I agree with the expectancy theory. I think self-efficacy for both leader and follower is extremely important in leadership development. Not only did we learn that the leader had directive and supportive behavioral skills, but it added participative behavior, which reminded me of Module 9, as well as achievement-oriented behavior as well. Both subordinate and task characteristics, their expectancies and valencies, influence which style the leader chose. The goals in achievement-oriented leadership seem more transactional than transformational, whereas in Module 7, LMX tended to move towards that. Module 7 to me was very important. LMX reminded me that number 1, leadership is a process, which goes back to definition from Module 1. It seems to be less specific or generalized, more specific rather, and less generalized, as it does not treat followers as a group, but treats the leader follower dyad uniquely. In-group behaviors are more transformational. They lead to better organizational citizenship behavior, which to me could be considered a common goal, going back to the definition of leadership from Module 1. The stranger phase seemed to me to be more transactional. Moving through the acquaintance phase to the mature phase was more of a partnership or group focus, which was more transformational. One of the dangers that I considered was that a high LMX partnership is generally brought about by similarity in demographics and experiences, and I wonder if this can cause problems concerning gender and diversity issues. Module 8 was wonderful. The continuum of leadership styles from transformational on downwards was fascinating. Laissez-faire, management by exception, contingent rewards, and the 4 I's was a fascinating model of leadership. To me, I believe the transformational aspect of leadership is value added. The contingency reward model leads to expected outcomes. and it's important. But to me, the transformational aspect of leadership uh, allows followers to go beyond expectations, and I think allows the group to accomplish more. The final two modules generated a lot of discussion. The readings and slides were fascinating. Um, Learned about the leadership labyrinth in Module 9. We talked about prejudice, gender biases stemming from stereotypical expectations, stereotypes being cognitive shortcuts. I learned the term homosocial reproduction, which I can certainly see in some workplaces. I truly believe that the uh, participatory aspect of leadership is extremely important, uh, from autocratic to consultative to joint decision making to delegation. The delegative aspect of participatory leadership reminded me of the leadership grid in Module 5. Um, the final aspect where the group is sort of left to govern themselves. The cognitive growth aspects of participation in psychological empowerment reminded me of, I think, some of the importance of activities in leadership training from Module 3. Again, I took away the importance of self-efficacy in leadership from Module 9. Module 10 certainly generated a lot of discussion as well. We learned about the globalization of the workplace and the need for a effective manager to have cross-cultural competencies. Culture is extremely important. We learned the concepts of ethnocentrism, a universal concept that unfortunately can lead, or not lead, but sometimes at an extreme be associated with prejudice, which is certainly not effective for any workplace. In summary, I learned an incredible amount about leadership from this course. I had no idea of the richness of the research and the variety of leadership models. I now recognize how broad and diverse the field is, particularly after reading some of the articles. It's quite scientifically based. I honestly look forward to continuing to explore aspects of leadership as I move forward in my career. I cannot thank you enough for all your help and guidance in the course. It was fascinating. It was a wonderful learning experience, and I hope to continue to explore this in the future. Thank you.